Okay, so yes, Chase, you're correct. If you missed some of these last night, you probably flipped the divisor and the dividend, or numerator and denominator in fraction form. Is that still correct?
No.
No. Okay? So today, I taught you one strategy yesterday to pick out the dividend first, to look for the total, look for what's being divided or broken apart or spread out or used. Look for a total. Today, I'm going to teach you a second strategy. Okay? I like the second strategy better, but it's not always there. So I have to teach you both ways, and you need to be familiar with both ways. So we're actually going to go through the first few. I'm going to teach you the new strategy, and you're going to kind of check the rest. Because again, if you're off on these, you'll have the correct number. You will just have them in the wrong order. Okay? So let me talk about that real quick. I'm going to go on a little side note here. This is coming up, so I'm going to start introducing it now. If the problem is 4 divided by 3, and you get it backwards, what problem might you have on your paper, Callan? 3 divided by 4, okay? So if you miss some of these today, that will be your error. Let's look at what our answers would look like in the unsimplified version. This one you would have an answer of 4/3. This one you would have 3/4. Does anybody know how those two fractions are related? Hey, Paxton, will you pull the door shut, please? Cam? Okay, they do have the same numbers in them. They actually have a special name for fractions like that. So like this is also a set of, like if I have 1 divided by 7 or 7 divided by 1, my answers would be 1/7 and 7/1, which would reduce to 7. That's another set of this type of thing. Does anybody know? I think I've just mentioned it maybe once. It's a big long R word. Reese?
Remainder?
Nope, not remainder. Jalen? Nope, not reduce. Reciprocal. Everybody say that. Reciprocal. Okay? What do you think a reciprocal is just by those two examples on the board? Carter?
You can switch them around. They don't change.
They do change. These are two completely different fractions. But it's just when you flip a fraction. Okay? When you flip a fraction, you have found the reciprocal of that fraction. So let's practice a couple. And again, you don't need this for today, but this is coming. So I'm going to start introducing it now. Kanan, if I have the fraction 5/7, what do you think the reciprocal of that is?
7 divided by 5.
Yeah, 7/5. 7/5 is the reciprocal. What about 2/10? Logan, what's the reciprocal of 2/10? I'm not going to put equals because they're not equal, sorry. 10 halves, yep, 10/2. Okay, what about 4? This one makes you think a little bit. Lena? No? Livy?
4/1.
So this is 4/1. So what is the reciprocal of 4? 1/4. Yeah, so there we have to use our prior knowledge of how do I write the whole number 4 as a fraction. And again, this isn't today, but the word reciprocal, you're going to have to know it very, very soon. And the actual definition of it is, and I don't like this definition, it's easier just to show you because they use the word in the definition, okay? Any number times its reciprocal equals 1. Any number times its reciprocal, if you multiply a number by its reciprocal, it has to equal 1. And you guys don't know how to multiply fractions. It's actually the easiest fraction operation. So let's just look at these two reciprocals. 4/3 times 3/4. If you multiply any number times its reciprocal, you will always get 1. Here's how you multiply fractions. And again, we're getting here. What's 4 times 3? What's 3 times 4? What does 12/12 equal? 1. That will always be true. If you're taking a number times its reciprocal, it'll always be 1. You don't have to have that definition memorized, but pretty soon you will need to know what a reciprocal is. Okay? So today, you might have the reciprocal of the actual answer if you flipped your numbers in the beginning. So we're going to check the first few. I'm going to teach you another strategy to try and get the correct order. I'm going to have you see if you can fix some that you may have missed, and then we'll go over the rest of them, okay? So today is a lot of, you're kind of self-assessing. What does that mean? Lena?
Working at your own pace and being yourself.
Not necessarily working at your own pace. Jalen?
Focusing on yourself.
Okay, focusing on yourself. What does it mean if you're assessing yourself, Jack?
I don't know.
Briley?
Like setting goals.
Not really setting goals. Cam? You're kind of helping yourself. You are figuring out, okay, what did I mess up on? What do I need to work on? Maybe what do I need to ask questions on? You're assessing yourself. Do I fully understand this, or am I needing to work a little bit more at it? Okay? And again, yesterday's strategy, I just told you to look for the total. Look for the dividend first. Figure out what's being divided, shared, split up. On some of those, that's a little bit tricky. So today I'm going to teach you a second strategy. Okay, and again, both of them are useful at different times, so it is important to be familiar with both of them. We did 1 and 2 together, correct? Did we do 3 together? No. Okay. So on number 3, who can tell me my number sentence and why that is my number sentence? Jack, go ahead and do the first one.
5 divided by 12.
We're on this, sorry, that's not numbered, the banner one. Because we did 1 and 2 together. So you guys are checking and fixing yours as we go.
48 divided by 15.
Okay, why is it 48 divided by 15? I agree. So that means there's 15 equal parts.
Is there putting 48 yards and then
So because there is a total of 48 yards being used. That's why you should have came up with the 48. Why is it divided by 15, Jack? Because you're breaking that 48 yards into 15 equal parts. So Cooper, without doing any math, what's 48 divided by 15?
48.
Good job, 48 over 15. Now we have to use what we know about fractions. Is that a good, final, simplified fraction? Logan? No. What can I do to that fraction, Logan? Okay, what do you want to simplify it by? Or what do you mean by simplify it?
Break it down, make it a smaller number.
Okay, so reduce it. Who can Cooper, what can this reduce by?
3.
Okay, yeah, I can reduce them both by 3. What else could I have done right here? What else could I have done in this step? Kinley? Yeah, I could have divided it out, and then I still would have had an answer that I should have reduced, okay? But we decided we're going to reduce it first. So this would give me 16 over 5. That is a simplified improper fraction. Lena, is that the best way to give that answer?
No.
What can I now do to that?
You can divide by 3.
Nope, I can't divide by 3 because I have 16 over 5. We already divided by 3.
That's good.
Livy?
You take 48 divided by 15.
Well, we could have done that first. We've reduced it already. Briley? 16 divided by 5. And this is one where we could have done it in different steps. If you didn't reduce it first, you would, Livy is correct, you would take 48 divided by 15. We reduced it, so we're going to take 16 divided by 5. I'm going to show you it doesn't matter. 5 goes into 16 3 times, and we have 1 left over, so that'd be 3 1/5. 15 goes into 48 3 times. Change colors because I got really close here. 3 times, that would be 45, and I would have 3 left over. This one is done because I reduced by 3 here. This one is not done because what can I still do? I can still reduce by 3. Either way, would I get 3 1/5? Yes. Reese, 3 1/5 is between what two whole numbers?
3 and 4.
Between 3 and 4. Give me an answer sentence, Kinley.
Each
Banner.
banner needed 3 1/5 of fabric.
Yards of fabric, yes. Each banner needs 3 1/5 yards of fabric. Okay, I'm not going to write the answer sentence, just fix yours if you missed it. Each banner needs 3 1/5 yards of fabric. Okay, next one. This is a problem where if you're looking for a total, sometimes it's confusing because he ran a total of 5 miles in a total of 8 hours. So this is one where the second strategy will be more beneficial. Who thinks they know the number sentence? Lena?
5 divided by 8.
Yes, because he ran 5 miles in 8 hours. And it wants to know how many miles does he run each hour. So 5 divided by 8 is correct. So there were 8 equal parts. Callan, what's 5 divided by 8 without doing any math? 5/8. Why do we like this one, Callan? Yeah, is it in simplest form?
Yes.
Yeah, so we don't have any other work to do. 5 divided by 8 is 5/8. We are done with this problem besides our answer sentence and telling what it's between. Avery, what is 5/8 between? What two whole numbers? 0 and 1. Good job. Carter, can you give me an answer sentence for this one?
Bob ran 5/8 of a mile
A little bit more, a couple more words.
each hour.
Good job. Bob ran 5/8 of a mile each hour. Bob ran 5/8 of a mile each hour. Put that away, please. Okay, raise your hand if you've flipped at least one so far. Okay, so now I'm going to teach you a different strategy, okay? But when you're reading these, one important strategy is read carefully, okay? Don't rush, read carefully. That strategy will always take you far. In these ones, though, especially like this Bob one, it is hard to decide which one is the total sometimes. So this second strategy will make your life a little bit easier, hopefully. I'm going to relate it to something you do know. So I Googled speedometer pictures. Okay, this is a speedometer. This is not one from the United States because of the labels. I'm going to bring your focus right here. Right there. Raise your hand if you think you know what that means. Cooper?
How much kilometers you go per hour?
Kilometers per hour, okay? So notice when he saw this slash, what word did you say, Cooper? Per. Okay, I couldn't pull up a US one because in the US we've changed the slash to a P. What do you think the P stands for? Per, okay? If I pulled up a speedometer off of like a US vehicle, ours, we have changed the abbreviation to MPH. We could say, though, miles / hours, and we would still say miles per hour. In math, what do fraction bars represent? Divide. Okay? What are some other words that I could replace the word per with that wouldn't change the meaning of that phrase? Kilometers per hour. Reese? If I said kilometers divide hours, and we're talking about speed, does that make sense? Nope. What's some other words that kind of mean the exact same thing? Avery? Each. Could I say kilometers each hour?
Yes.
Yeah, and it means the same thing. Every. 6 kilometers every hour. Does that mean the same thing? Okay. If you can pick out those words, and this halfway makes sense to you, kilometers per hour, this next strategy, you're really going to like it. Okay? We're going to go back to the worksheet, and I'm going to show you what the strategy is, but we're going to base it off of what we know about kilometers per hour. Let me go back. Just a second. It looks like my board's frozen. Wait for my bubble to come back. There it is.
Broken.
Come on. There we go. It's just taking a little time. That's okay. Okay, at the bottom margin of your worksheet, we're going to take just a little bit of notes. It can fit in the margin at the bottom of your worksheet, so it's not a lot. And it's going to help us with this new strategy. So here's my margin. It's under in 3 hours, talking about Sally. I want you to write, make a star and write per, each, every. Per, each, every. And then you're going to write in question mark, which means it's in the question. It's not in the problem. Remember, in a word problem, there's usually a couple sentences. Where is the question usually located? At the very end. So look for the sentence that ends in a question mark. You are looking for the words per, each, and every in the question. Now, this won't make sense till I show you some examples. I'm just giving you something to look back at. Next to this, I want you to draw a line and write label, per, and anytime I use the word per, I could also use the word each and every. And then label. In the question, if the word per, each, and every is in the question, right before it, there's a label. Right after it, it's a label. And that gives us the order of our division problem. Okay? So we're going to go back to the ones we've already checked, and I'm going to show you what that means, because it's a little confusing until you see some examples. Okay, so I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to go to the top. Go to the question. The question says, how many oranges does each person get? Is the word each in my question, Nolan? Where? Yeah, so I want you to circle the word each right there. Now, in the question, right before that, so we're looking at how many oranges does. Which of those words could be a label? Callan? In front of it. How many oranges does? Oranges. Underline oranges. Behind the word per, each, or every. Cam, is there a word that could be a label? It's person, but yeah, we can change it to people. Now, over to the side, and I know we don't have a ton of room, or if you have room in the box under your answer sentence, that means we take oranges divided by persons or people. Oranges divided by persons, which sounds funny, but then we have to go to the problem and look, what did it tell me about oranges in this problem? I have 5 of them. So we would replace oranges with 5. How many persons or people did it talk about in this problem? We would replace persons with 2. Was our number sentence over here 5 divided by 2? Yes. Yes. Okay, it just requires a lot less thought, per se. Thinking about, okay, what's the total? What are the pieces? Let's look at the second one. What do you think I want you to circle in the question, Lena? Each. Kanan, what's something you think I want you to underline in that question? Dog. Okay, dog behind it. So we look for a label right in front of it and right behind it. There's one behind it. Livy, what's the label in front of it? Food. And sometimes the label doesn't match perfectly. Like with food, we're measuring it in bags, but if I say food, you can look back and see which number is referring to the food in the problem. So in this one, Addie, is the 5 or the 12 referring to food? Because I have food each dog, which means I'm taking food divided by dogs. What do I know about my food? I have 5 bags of food. How many dogs do I have, Addie? 12. Is that the problem we came up with before? Okay, let's do one more. Reese, in the banner problem, what do you think I want you to circle? Each. Oops. Paxton, what's something you think I want you to underline? Banner afterwards. Usually the one after is easiest to find because there's fewer words. Jalen, what about the label before each? Fabric. So that tells me I have to take fabric and divide it by banners. So we go back to the problem. Briley, what do I know about my fabric? There's 48 yards. What do I know about my banners? There's 15. So we take 48 divided by 15. Raise your hand if you like this strategy. Okay, I'm going to give you just a couple minutes. What I want you to do is on the remainder of the ones we have not gone over. So we have not gone over Sally on, okay? I want you to go through, underline, and circle in each question, okay? And then check and see if you still agree with what you thought the problem was yesterday. If you are flipping your problem, okay, just flip the fraction. You don't have to simplify it, okay, because that's not the part I'm worried about today. The part I'm worried about today is that you get them in the right order, okay? So I'm going to give you about 2 minutes. I want everybody working on that. So when I come around, you should be circling and underlining the key words in each problem. Okay. And again, the last one's a little bit weird. We'll talk about that one. This one, Sally, they're not numbered. Ethan, what did you underline? What did you circle?
I circled each and underlined cookies.
Hold on, we're on the bottom on the front side. Hours and apples, okay, because apples and hours could be labeled. So that tells us we have to take what we know about apples and divide it by what we know about hours. So Cooper, what's my problem going to be? We're on the bottom on the front side. What is my math problem if I'm taking apples divided by hours? Okay, 125 divided by 3, so there were 3 equal parts. When I write that as a fraction, I get 125 over 3. Stella, is that a good final answer?
No.
Why not?
Because you could simplify by 3.
No. Okay.
Divide by 3.
Okay, if we divide it out, we would get a mixed number. What is our mixed number? Who has it? Jack? 41 and 2/3. What is that between, Addie? What 2 whole numbers is 41 and 2/3 between? Between 41 and 42. Who can give me an answer sentence? Jack?
Sally picks 41 and 2/3 apples each hour.
Good job. Sally picked 41 and 2/3 apples each hour. Why does that sound weird?
2/3.
Yeah, you can't really pick 2/3 of an apple. Okay, it's an average. Next one. Carter, what do you have underlined? What do you have circled?
I would circle each.
Okay, you circled each. What did you underline?
Friends.
Okay, friend.
And between, no.
So look in front. So look in front of the word each. Which of those could be a label? How much cake does? Cake. So the question, really, you're asking a question there. Cake does friend? Does that sound weird? Like I'm not speaking English? Okay, but that's just telling us we take what we know about cake and divide it by what we know about friends. So this one, your number sentence should be 6 divided by 4. Your answer of 6/4, you can either reduce it to 3/2 there and then divide it out, or if you divide it out in the beginning, you would have got 1 2/4, which is not a good final answer. Please. Okay, so answer no matter which way you got there should be 1 1/2. If you finished it, that is between 1 and 2. So each friend gets 1 1/2 pieces of cake. Next one. Chase, what did you underline? And circle.
Water each in water bottle.
Good. Water each water bottle. So I go back to the problem. I know I have 98 ounces of water, and I'm dividing it by water bottles, and I have 7. So I have 7 equal parts. 98/7 is our first step. Who has that divided out? Paxton, what did you come up with?
Remember Stella?
Yes.
Divide?
Yeah, when I divide it out, what did you get?
12 and 5/15.
Nope, you're right here.
Oh. 1/4?
Ethan, because Paxton can't read his own handwriting. 14. Now, why was that a weird one when we was telling what it was between? Jack?
There's 14, 13, and
Yeah, so it is a whole number. Typically, when we're telling what it's between, it's a mixed number. This one, I'm not worried about the between. If you wrote 14, you're good. If you wrote that 14 is between 13 and 15, you're good. That's usually a question if your answer is a mixed number, and this one came out as a whole number. Okay, so each water bottle gets 14 ounces of water. Next one. Addie, what did you underline and circle in the question?
I circled each.
Okay, you circled each.
I underlined paper
Okay,
and student.
good job. So we're trying to figure out how much paper per student. So we're taking paper, dividing it by students. So we have 185 is what we know about paper. We know there are 15 students, so 15 equal parts. So my first answer would be 185 over 15. Callan, what did you get when you divided that out?
I got 37 over 3.
Okay, so you reduced it by 5. Okay, so he reduced it by 5 first, which works. And he got 37 over 3. What else should I do to that, Kanan?
I divided 185 by 15.
Okay.
And I got 12 and 1 over 3.
Okay, so if you divided that, you probably got 12 and 1/15 or 3/15, but then you reduced it, right? Or was it 5/15?
Yeah.
Okay, 5/15, and then you reduced it to 1/3, yes. If we take 37 divided by 3, since we've already reduced by 5, we get there a little bit faster. We still had to do both steps regardless of which method you chose. Jalen, 12 and 1/3 is between what two whole numbers? 12 and 13. Okay, to save time, I'm going to give you the rest of them very quickly because we're about out of time. Number sentence for the next one was 2 divided by 3, so 3 parts. The answer was each day she eats 2/3 of a cookie, or she eats 2/3 of a cookie each day. The last one, this is one where our keyword isn't there and there was a typo. How long does it take him to mow one lawn? Sometimes our second strategy, the words aren't there. Could I rephrase this and say, how long does it take him to mow each lawn? Yeah, is that saying the same thing? I'm not changing the question, am I? No, so it's still time divided by lawn, so this would be 9 divided by 12. So that reduces to 3/4. Hey guys, I'm not sure why you're packing up. Just relax. Relax. We're getting close. We're not there yet. Okay, so it takes him 3/4 of an hour to mow each lawn. Okay guys, listen real quick. On your worksheet for tonight, okay, it says fractions as division worksheet. Flip it to the back side. It is blank. Flip it to the back side. I am giving you directions. What I want to see. Okay? So you need, I want you to write, you're going to write out the words that are helping you decide what the order is. So you're going to write out like label per label. Are you actually going to write label per label? No, you would write like dollars each hour. Under that, you would write your number divided by a number. So you're replacing your labels with the number that represents them. Does that make sense? Okay, what do you think I want next? Your answer and answer sentence. Okay, there are only 6 questions. Take your time. That's what I am looking for when I grade this tomorrow. I'm looking for all 4 of these things. Does anybody have questions? Cam? On weekly worksheet what? 75%, yes. Okay, you guys may go ahead and go. I will see you tomorrow.